a second if you want.
One, two, three, four, test.
VK3RTV.
Go, John.
You can put me on last if you want. I've got a video that goes for around 10 minutes.
Okay. Right, good evening and welcome to the Amateur TV Net, which is held every Tuesday night at 8 PM on the VK3BCU. And the stations that are watching this evening that have checked in: Bob VK3BVR, Mark VK3PI, Steve VK3TTF and Richard VK3VRS. Also, Richard will be doing the YouTube stream. So go onto YouTube. If you can't watch it via RF, which is the preferred method, just go across to YouTube and type in VK3VRS and his live feed should come up. Also, he's running Discord as well. So no excuse not to watch the net this evening, or you can watch it on delay. After the net is finished, you can watch it on YouTube via VK3VRS. First up will be Peter, VK3BFG, and then Peter will be putting it back to me, and then I'll be putting it across to VK3QL, Mick VK3CH, then John VK3ATV. So that's about it. So if you're ready, Peter, I see the splash screen is already up. So please, everyone, switch across to RTV1 right now as we speak.
Magic of television, right? Just scratching my nose there, just one moment. I'll just turn this on. Good evening, I'm Peter, VK3BFG, in not so sunny Wantirna South today, that's for sure. It was pretty wild and woolly. Well, I ventured over to the west last night. It's always a very dangerous place to go. I had to find Wensart, and eventually I did by wandering through a few of the back streets, and we had a good meeting there with the guys, and I saw a few of the some of the new Yaesu equipment that some of you already have, but for me it was the first time to see it, and major little bit of kit, that's for sure. The way in which, I forget the actual type number, but Neil will prompt me on that one. But yeah, the little head comes off, and that's a 10 watt standalone, and then it goes back into its cradle, and suddenly a 50 watter. And the feature is that half the screen is VHF, UHF, and the other half of the screen is HF, which is equally amazing. I guess it's got dual VFOs and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, a very impressive piece of kit. And we also heard a little bit about the Tokyo Hamfest and how big it is. It's just extraordinarily big. Some 40,000 people attend this thing. Actually, I think Japan is the country with the largest number of amateur radio operators still. So I guess that's part of the reason there. And of course you've got most of the manufacturers of amateur equipment there as well. I'm sure the guys from Hydes would probably be there as well from Taiwan. But yeah, anyway, thanks to Stephen, VK3RTV, who dropped in a couple of little micros, which were to detect on the GT media boxes that we've got here. And I'll show you what's happening with mine. I've got it running here, and I can see my my own image on the screen there, because it's monitoring the frequency. But unfortunately, I think I might have killed it. Anyway, we'll just have a quick look, and you'll see what I mean. It is actually supposed to be receiving this particular frequency, and certainly is. I can see the screen there, okay. But it's the readout that's the problem. So I think it objected to my administration somehow along the line. But anyway, we'll go to shaky cam, and hopefully it's going to show you what's going on here. If I can just get this lead a little bit further around and get it on there. You can see what's happening to the screen, and that's the information that we're using to key off. So it's quite intermittent. As you can see, there's the readout's gone out. Now it's back on. It was better for a little while, and occasionally you can see the RX LED come on, but obviously it didn't like my my administrations, which means I really just taken 2 lines out for the little micro, and also I cut the IR line like I've done a lot of times with receivers, and it ended up like that. So it's not a very happy little place at the moment. So we'll see what happens. I might be able to sort things out. The receiver is still receiving, because there's the picture. So it's still receiving, but obviously the readout is a problem, and that's where we get all the key information from, of course. So I'm not sure whether it's just this one or not. I've got another one, so I could actually plug the digital readout into this main board and see if it's still working, or whether maybe the controllers in the main board's gone. Anyway, that's the situation at the moment. You can see there I was in the process of putting it in a case, but we're going to have to do a little bit more investigation. But that's the way of the world, and of course, when you're experimenting with things, sometimes you do damage them. Although all I did was cut some tracks, but it didn't like it. You see there, the receive lead, it does flash on every now and then, and that's when the display sort of settles down. But unfortunately, it looks as though I might have damaged the display controller somehow. Anyway, we'll give you a further report on it next week, and we'll see how things have gone after a bit more look-see. Anyway, it wasn't a bad thing to be doing today in the cold, so all was not lost. I guess it was somewhat entertaining me, but it would have been better if it had been all working. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Okay, I think I'm handing it back to Neil, and you can see my monitors that I have at the back here, the bigger ones when we're doing, and of course that's my control system there, which is a bit remote compared to some, but being hardware orientated, well, I guess I'm not using vMix or OBS or anything like that. But we've got some displays around the place. Looks like a TV studio, which is good. Anyway, we'll put that down, and so you can just see one of my cases there. And I think I'm handing it back to Neil. So everyone needs to go back to RTV2 now. So this is VK3BFG in Montana South. Back to you there, Neil.
Okay, I've got all the switching right. My chair's creaking. Have to try and oil that one day. Okay, now many years ago when I first got my licence, we didn't have all these surface mount bits and pieces and transceivers like we were looking at last night, Peter. We're very basic, and I built myself a 40-metre transmitter. I was still at school then, and I'm going to show you what it was basically made of. I think if I can, it'll bring back some memories for people. Right, for the people that are my age, that was my 40-metre transmitter. The rectifier was the 80 valve there on the right-hand side. Directly heated filaments, not even a cathode there, so it was a very basic, one of the early valve rectifiers. And then I had a electron coupled VFO, the V6V6 which is on the left there, driving an 807, and when I tuned it, the frequency would pull as it tuned, as it went to resonance. So eventually I put a 6V6 in as a buffer. And the modulator was an old tape recorder, plate modulating the 807. That ran about 20 watts, and I ran that for my backyard shed for many years, 40 metres, and that's where it all started about 55 years ago. So I'm sure that's going to bring back some memories for some of you people, maybe not everybody. Okay, now next week, we're going to have a guest controller, if I can bring back, there we go. Next week we've got a guest controller, mystery controller, so look out for that. All tune in to see who the mystery controller is going to be next week. So, Ian, if you're ready, VK3QL, I'm on S, so it should be a very clean cutover. So, Ian, if you take it, then put it across to Mick VK3CH, who's on T, so it'll be a rough cutover, and then Mick, if you could put it across to John VK3RTV, and then John back straight to me. So if you're ready, Ian, get ready for the quick changeover. Take it away.
Good evening and welcome to television.
There's no business like show business. Let's get on with the show. Stand by for live to camera.
Good evening, and thanks Neil for handing it over and running the net. That's great. I can't think who might be the mystery controller. So anyway, I'll wait with eager anticipation. Yes, the valve stuff. Well, I don't know. I think fortunately that I missed all the valves stuff. So yeah. So and I've never wished to investigate it. I did do about 10 classes of radio theory involving valve technology, and I gave the rest of the year a miss and went on to do AV media, or AV audio-visual aids in those days, which I've related to a bit more. Anyway, rabbiting on here. The first segment I've got is concerning civil defence in the Cold War era. One of the guys over in England, the UK, visited a local nuclear bunker, he refers it to, and so it's a pretty short clip, but it's quite detailed and something that I'm not aware of, that we had any great big civil defence network in Australia, but they certainly seem to have had that in UK, and I imagine many parts of Europe. So without any further ado, here's a clip from a BATC net a couple of weeks ago.
But a few months ago I went to the nuclear bunker at Hack Green. Those who follow HF will probably know that they've also got a web SDR, HF web SDR, and I think they do VHF as well there, but a very interesting visit. And whilst there I took some pictures, which hopefully, if I get on the right screen, this is a map of where the Hack Green is, just to the northwest of Stoke-on-Trent, so south of Manchester, northwest. This is the main entrance signage as you go in. It used to be RAF Hack Green, which was many years ago. This is the guard room, which is about 4 feet tall, and I'm thinking I would absolutely hate to be stuck in there for any period of time. The main entrance, full of all sorts of missiles, and it really makes you wonder, gosh, how close we were to getting it all wrong. This is the floor plan, and you can see from the number of rooms how many rooms there are. It really is a 2 to 3 hour visit. The BT room, and apparently BT engineers were plonked in there and not allowed out for a good number of days each time. This is the main radio desk, and it's also used by the, I can't remember which radio group, but when they have special event station. One of the display cabinets of military equipment, all sorts of stuff in there which would get people drooling. This is a VLF transmitter control, and it's from here that they were talking to the submarines in the Falklands. The BBC transmitter desk, some of it's not very well lit, I have to say, even fiddling around with the photos. And this is the conference room where they make presentations, or whoever it is gives the good news, or not necessarily the bad news. And back to the map again. So let's go back to the camera and see where we're at. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hang on a minute while I go to the right one. There we go. So yeah, a very enjoyable visit, and I have to say, I think it was about £17–18 to get in. You get a ticket which lasts all year.
Voiceover segment.
Year. And there was a nice cup of coffee, and I have to say, a very, very nice Eccles cake before I left.
Stand by for live to camera.
Great. I must ask the staff, the flight attendants, whether there's eckle cake. I'm not sure what eckle cake looks like, but it sounds like it would be very tasty. Yes, so I thought that was very interesting. And just by the way, while I'm on the topic, the BATC QO100 net, which actually transmits currently at 6 a.m. our time on a Friday, I put up a recording for a couple of weeks on my YouTube channel, VK3 Quebec Lima on YouTube. And so you can see that the current one and a couple of weeks ago, the recordings, and you can whiz through them and see. It's a great way of coming up to speed about what's happening over in the UK, which is very progressive and a lot of interest in buildings gear. All right, why don't we go to a quiz?
WSPR stands for Weak Signal Propagation Reporter, a protocol used for weak signal radio communications between amateur radio stations. It's fully automated and reports to whispernet.org in real time. In this video, we'll take a quick look at WSPR and how it can improve your chances of working good DX.
Stand by for live to camera.
Right, that previous video and WSPR, WSPR, and also the other ones that were shown are available on Andrew's website, VK3FS. If you search VK3FS on YouTube, you'll be rewarded with a great treasure trove of over 30, I think there is, videos on various aspects of our hobby, especially the more progressive microwave and other more modern techniques. Some would say the more dangerous modern techniques. But anyway, they're very well put together, short, to the point, well scripted, well illustrated, and take my hat off to the work he's done in producing those videos. All right, what we might do is look at the calendar of events.
Voice-over segment.
So Rosebud Radio Fest is on next Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, and the Spring VHF and Plus into the microwaves. Field day is the 22nd, 23rd, midday Saturday the 22nd to Sunday midday-ish. You better check the website if you're going to submit logs for what the rules are. The Ballarat Radio Ham radio group is got their hamvention on the 1st of February, so they're going to be the first one out of the stocks as far as VK3 goes for hamfests and ham ventions and things.
Stand by for live to camera.
Right, the next thing I'm just looking at, I've got a hard quiz now. I haven't been able to do a hard quiz for a while, so I thought I put put both quizzes, an easy one and a more difficult one. So here's the more difficult one. Put your thinking caps on for this group. G'day. This week's digital TV repeater whistle-stop tour takes us to the sunny southern state of South Australia. Sitting nearly 1,000 kilometres west of Melbourne, it's home to the vibrant DATV community in the coastal regions of Whyalla and Port Perry. At the heart of the action is VK5RDC that comes alive most weeknights from 7:30 local time. You can catch the transmissions on the BATC streamer site. And when it comes to weather, Whyalla often enjoys sunnier skies and warmer temperatures than our southeastern neighbours. So let's take a look at the 5-day forecast.
Stand by for live to camera.
Great. On YouTube, on the YouTube channel VK3VRS, Richard YouTube channel, we've got Bronson the Cat, Vince, VK3YVS, David, VK2, DJV, me, the Mojo, S51KQ, John, VK2ATU, and yes, that's it. Yeah, so that's the ones that have come up on the chat, so I just thought I'd acknowledge those. All right, that's all I've got. Mick, if you'd like to stand by, and I shall do my outros and drop carrier on the K signal.
Okay, some days it's quick, some days it's slow. Alright, well I think it was the different one from S2T. Now I'll put that down a little bit. Alright, valve gear. Yes, we've done that. Now I've got my new shaky cam. So I'll see if this will cut over properly. It tends to come good after it's been hooked up for a little bit. No, it's not going to behave anyway. If we go up to here, no, hang on, I've got to extend the lead a bit. There we go. If you can see that, when it decides to update, that's a valve amplifier I built years ago, 6V6 GTs and push-pull with 12 AX7s. So anyway, the camera's not that good, so we'll cut back to here. Now, it gives you an idea. I do have pictures of it somewhere, but I wouldn't be able to find them in a hurry. So yeah, just with Peter when he was talking about a bit of valve gear. My older brother did build a lot of transmitters and stuff, although he never went for his ham license and still hasn't. So I keep trying to suggest it to him. He reckons when I retire. So he's very close to retiring, so I might have to pester him again. Alright, what have we been doing? We're thinking about building a network attached storage. We did find another Raspberry Pi in the house, which isn't too hard. I think there's about another 2 of them hiding somewhere. Or did I sell them at a ham fest? And another thing I found looking for a power supply for it was I knew I bought these hard drive controller things from JCar, so I found the other one. So I bought another one, and then of course you go and find the other one, so I can use this. Or what I could do, if I decide to get very adventurous, is I could have 2 of them plugged into this, because you know it's got 2 USB 3 ports, you know, the blue ones, and I could plug in 2 different kinds of hard drives into each of them. So technically I could have 4 hard drives hanging off them, but I've got one big 3 terabyte drive, so I'll probably just use that. Alright, what else? I've got a video I can show you. The house next door. They've done the concrete pour, so they've actually put up part of the wooden walls, the first story, so I can roughly work out whether it's going to block the repeater or not. And I think I might just be okay, but I'll let this tell the story. House is being built next door. Now, as you can see, there's the antenna pointing to the repeater, which is pretty much pointing at those 2 trees. Now the corner of the house is just sort of underneath where the arced branch is. So when this house is built, and it's 2-story, that's only half of it, I don't think it's going to block the repeater. I think we're going to be okay. Yeah, so that's the video I took. Now I looked at my VU meter. I was probably meant to scale that back. That was probably a bit too loud, but sorry about that. Now here's the picture. If I put the picture on, what you can see there is the yellow line is pretty much where the antennas are pointing to VK3RTV. So that's where the repeater pretty much is, and that red line is roughly through the tree where I've worked at where the edge of the dwelling will be built, and I suppose part of the roof guttering might poke a little bit past that. So as you can see, there's already houses past it and the repeater isn't visible, you know, it's in the distance. So I'm roughly assuming that I'm probably going to be okay once that 2-story dwelling is built on the edge. There's actually 3 of them going up, but there was only 2 I saw on the plans. unless it's a big garage or something, I don't know, but that's the one closest to our fence line. And there's one that's very close to her garage. Once that's built, the garage is probably going to be pretty much very dark. But there you go. All right, what else have I got? I think that was it. Yep. All right. So yeah, we're building the network attached storage. So yeah, that'll be something we can do tomorrow, and find a few more other bits. I can't find the other power supply. The other one's being used for the All-Star node, and so I've ordered another power supply. What's the bet when it turns up? I'll tip up another box and I'll find it. But I have rummaged through the boxes. That's how I found this thing that I thought I'd had a thorough look for. So you know how it is. Too much junk. All right, I believe I'm handing it across to John at VK3RTV over in Williamstown. So John, if you want to start transmitting, we will drop off and we'll catch us all next week. Rosebud this weekend, I'm probably not going, so I'm sure you guys will take lots of video and probably play it on this next Tuesday. Okay, cheers all from Mick. John, you can take it.
Good evening everyone, John, VK3RTV. We're operating live from the Austin 7 workshop tonight. I haven't been on for a while, so it's good to get back on and actually have something to show you. Only just finished rendering this video pretty much as the net started, so hopefully it's turned out okay. So this is just some footage of the Melbourne ATV group get together we had at Amateur Radio Victoria a while ago. We finally got around to putting a video together, so I thought I'd show that tonight. Ian, I'd love to borrow your scriptwriter and your studio team. They do a great job. So I will run this video for you.
If you want to get onto Turnkey, and this is my little pride and joy, which is what I use on the net, which is basically a modulator going into a mixer and an oscillator through a filter and then the amps there. So, and they're both remote controlled. I can actually turn them on anywhere in the world as long as they're connected to my internet at home. Oh, and this is one of the down converters. If you want to monitor yourself on DVB-T and put it into a set-top box, you come in at 1200 megs, mix down, and you can monitor yourself on DVB-T locally. And that's similar to what's at the repeater as well. Peter will talk about that. So that's basically it. If you think you're going to modulate, if you're doing S, that'll work fine. But for T, the domestic tuner, you're going to have to go through a down converter.
Yeah, there's 200.
Or if you want to simplex as well.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's one of the Chinese amplifiers in there. There's a little up converter to convert from 12 volts to 24 volts, or 28 volts. There's most of you are probably familiar with the little Chinese 10 watt amp.
There's some information in here regarding RTV, but I'm not sure that that will be helpful, but it's helpful for me. So that's my Bible, which has got a lot of information. Both of these here are receivers that we can use at RTV, and they have surgery on them. The first surgery is simply some method of detecting the incoming signal. So that was pretty easy to detect that with a bit of a comparator circuit and a little relay there. That relay simply closes a contact which tells the main controller that there's a signal there. So that was pretty easy. Then we get to this sort of a device where, I was able to get into the IR line there, but the actual signal that comes up on the display is integrated. The display is integrated, and there's not just simply an on-off type signal. So I was just probing around a little driver I see there, and I found a pin that changed when the signal came in. So main controller is an RS232 line.
And portable, just have that little battery box set up. I'll probably turn it around this way for a second for everyone. Come and have a look. It is a bit of mess inside. Solar input, 50 amps Anderson. It's got lots of USB-Cs and cigarette sockets and stuff like that on it. So nice and flexible for plugging in any bits and pieces of equipment. It did have a 120 amp hour battery in it, but that's sort of part of my talk that I'll be doing later. We'll go through that one. This is just a little SAW filter. The SAW filters are quite customizable, different frequencies. You can get them off AliExpress. This is a little board I designed to put in a little case. So you can actually have, say, a 446 megahertz bandpass to help filter out things like mandanidon when you're trying to actually amplify the RTV signal. So that can come in handy. And this is the main sort of talk. I'm going through and I'll do a talk on KiCad later. This is my transmitter. So all in one, computer power supply, computer case. So my idea behind how I built this, and I did do a talk on the actual board on ATV a couple of months ago, but the reason why I did it this way is I wanted to use common computer parts because they're quite easy to find, cheap. Everyone's probably got an old computer case laying around, and they're metal, so great for RF shielding. So based on that, and they also have a standby power supply. So when this is actually off, so long as you've got power to it, it powers up the network switch and the main controller. So then you can just use API commands to actually turn your transmitter on remotely. So that's the gist of it. Standard D4BT modulator, mixer, just the normal method. If you can see underneath here, because I haven't done the back plane, the actual power amplifier is mounted under the power supply here. So that is a complete transmitter with power amplifier all built into it.
Hides, just as you buy it. Probably the fastest and easiest way to get on with one of those and an amplifier. Whether you go with a smaller one, depending on where you are, or you go with one of the Chinese ones, which we've discussed before. That'd be from a computer running OBS or vMix, or just a straight camera, or even if you've got an analog camera and that's all you've got, you can get one of these converters, and that'll be HDMI in, or you can go analog straight in if you so desire. It gives you some options. Anyway, so what I've done here, basically I've just put it in a case because they are very sensitive to static. So please, if you're looking, don't actually touch the line because it's static off the carpet. But yeah, very simple. Just turn on the power to the amplifier. You use the ports down as your actual device to do all the, I suppose, translation to put it through to your line. With the ports down, they're very flexible. So you can use one of these, a HDMI input.
Those who may not be familiar with a group map, it's got an elbow-sized, gizmo along the show. So far I've only transmitted the test card, courtesy of the use of Peter's antenna. I haven't tried any audio through it yet. The little sort of rather untidy looking boards here are for thermal control of the Lime SDR cooling and switching the PA when you go to transmit to avoid the spikes that come out of the port sound 4 when you transmit, which can destroy the Lime SDR, I'm told. And a power supply underneath. Bit of a dog's breakfast, but I thought, well, I'll put it together like that at first, and if it works, I'll do it.
We need to obviously create a library as well for that one, but not that hard really. So yeah, only needed for custom components. Lay out the virtual properties of pin numbers. So it doesn't have to be drawn like if you've got a DIP package, you don't have to draw it like a DIP package with 4 pins down one side and 4 pins down the other. You can make it look neat. So you can put your VCCs up the top, your grounds down the bottom. Your
This talk demonstration.
You've only got a
We might have satellite input.
no doubt.
So that's
the other way.
It'd be common.
Inside it, you can see the water the other side of the fence. So that's a great thing.
When it puts up the access, it shows what it's found. You got the 4 CPU power, the 12 volt power, sending the power to the
Okay, so that was just some footage of the last event we had, which was the second event, and I dare say by the reaction to people who went, we'll probably have a third one. So look out for that. That's it from me. Thanks everyone for watching, and it was great to do a live broadcast from the Austin 7 workshop tonight. So I will play my thanks for watching, Neil, and then you can have it back. I'm on DVB-T. Thanks everyone. Good night from John in Williamstown.
Ian, did you want to come back up and talk about that SMS, about rebroadcasting? Or should we leave that till next week?
Just a note on YouTube from Mojo, that's all.
Okay.
Just thought we acknowledge that we go beyond the horizon, as it were.
Okay, apparently we're international, so that's great. So thanks everyone else for watching. It's been a really good net. Hopefully next week it'll be just as good. As I said, there's a mystery net controller next week, so let's see who that is and tune in and support the mystery controllers. So thanks for watching everyone. It's been great. So we'll see you, or someone will be sitting here or another chat next week, so tune in next week. Cheers.